Hey, welcome back. This is part 2 of rebuilding our Quadrajet carburetor. In the first part, I took it all apart, show you how to take it all apart, how to clean it, and find all the little tiny places that you need to clean it. And this part, we're going to put it back together, and we got a couple of things we're going to fix along the way, which is common for all these Quadrajets, and to dispel some of the problems that they normally have, and people start bad-mouthing them like Quadrabog, and how they leak all over the place inside the intake manifold. Super simple fixes. Follow along. Alright, so the first things I'm going to do on this carburetor before I start putting it all back together is I'm gonna JB weld these well plugs here, and then there's one more on this one, which is not on some of the older ones. It's right here. Now these are made out of aluminum or something, and they are a different material than the body. The body is made out of pot metal, and when you have two different metals they get hot and cold together at the same time, they heat and they expand and contract at different rates, and that can cause these things to leak. The edges of these have been pushed over, and these look like they're done pretty well, but this is just extra assurance so we don't have a problem down the road with getting crappy gas mileage and the carburetor leaking all over the place. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get out some JB weld. And all you don't need a lot. This is probably too much, but hey. There we go, about equal amounts. Get the lid back on this. Mix them up. Obviously, you want equal amounts of black and white. You mix them up until they're a nice, consistent, even gray color. All right. It's like a nice dark gray. And then you just start filling it in. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to seal it. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to use my fingers. And then a little bit up here, a little bit around here. Make sure you don't let this stuff dry in your hands, because it's basically steel. It's like a two-part epoxy that basically turns to the consistency of steel. And then I just wipe it off. It comes right off with a paper towel, and get it off your screwdriver, unless you want a screwdriver that's like not going to work very well as a screwdriver anymore. And then I'm going to just let that dry before I go any farther, and then I can throw out the rest of this. So, okay, it's the next morning, and I let this dry overnight, the JB weld. And the next thing you want to do is we're going to put the base plate on. And this is the old gasket, which is actually in really nice shape, but we have a new gasket, and it comes with a couple of different options. So you want to just make sure that they match up, all the little holes match up correctly, so you don't have a problem in the future. Then you pop that on there like so. Base plate on, upside down. We're just doing this kind of all upside down now. There we go. And we just got to find the screws that held it on. There's not really that many on this carburetor. There's only 3 screws that are holding the base plate on. These are the 3. And you need, I do Phillips head. There we go. And you don't want to go crazy, you just want them snug, alright? don't use power tools to do this either. I know some people are in a hurry and they want to use power tools, but all you end up doing is stripping the bolt holes out, so don't do that. There we go. Flip it back over. We're going to start working on the interior of the carburetor. Oh yeah. I'm going to put in, before I start on the interior, I'm going to put the idle mixture screws in. So, and then I got this special tool, if you remember from the last video. This is for carburetors like this that have these weird idle mixture screws. You used to be able to pick these up at any parts store, and they would come with several different bits to deal with these carbs that were built during the smog era, where they were basically not supposed to have you messing with the idle mixture because they didn't want to mess up the emissions on them. So you bottom the screw out, and you don't have to go hard, just want to make sure it's bottomed out. And then I just back up, oops. I back up 2 full turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. I count the half turns because you see how it's got this going on. So 1 is a half turn, 2 is a full turn. That's how I do it. There it is. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. So you might be able to hear the outdoor going on. It's Sunday morning, and it's like 67 degrees in July. Yeah, it's 67 degrees in the morning in July, and our high is going to be like in the 70s today, which is, and it's not even raining or storming or anything. It's going to be just nice, which is really unusual for us at this time of year. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You might have to go another full turn to get it to run. As a matter of fact, I think I will on this Quadrajet just to be on the safe side. That way, I'm sure that it'll idle. When I start it up for the first time, it'll sit and idle for a bit. It's better to have a little too much fuel than wondering why it keeps stalling when you take your foot off the gas. You need some parts in here. Float, primary metering rods, spring, the accelerator pump. We're going to replace this old hard, see how hard that is? This old hard rubber. This is probably why the accelerator pump wasn't working. You need this plastic doohickey thing that holds the float down like that. So, needle and seat. So this is the needle part of the seat. I need to clean this a little better. I don't know if this, yeah, did it come with one? Yeah, it came with a new one. But I want this little hanger hook here. I don't know if you can see that. See the little hanger hook here? This little wire. I'm gonna hang on to that. This is the original seat for the needle and seat. I don't know if I'm gonna need anything off of this, so I'm gonna keep it out. Plug thing here. I'm gonna clean this up a little more. This little plastic plug thing here. Okay. This plastic plug thing here, it goes where if you had a Cadillac in 1979, you would have a mixture control solenoid. You've seen how this was a truck. And the 454 truck was probably, that was a one-ton. It wasn't getting all the emission stuff or the ECM rod. This is a float hanger rod. There's the original check ball. It's like a little ball bearing. Can you see that? Hang on to that. Don't lose that, because it might come with more than one size, depending on what carburetor you have. Now there's this little screw here, which I'm going to take a little cleanup on as well. This is what holds the check ball down, this little screw. So get that a little closer. See the little screw there. Alright, I'm going to put spring in for the accelerator pump. Then I'm going to get this out. This is the accelerator pump's new retention spring and diaphragm. I have no idea what this. Oh, I know what this. The little plastic deal is probably in order to help you install it. That's what it's for. It goes over like that to help you install it. So I'm gonna get my pick tool and just pull this out. You look closely, you can see the spring, retainer spring inside this one. Look at how this just broke on me. Just tore. It's probably original to the car. Been in here for 40 years. I don't know, baby. Look at that, it's just falling apart as I pull it apart. Look at that. So you use this, I guess you just use this little tool here. And you slide these over. And it helps you get it on. Over the lip here. Which is upside down. There we go. Got the cup on. And we just slide the spring on. Over the top of that. Take your time on this kind of stuff. That way you don't shoot the spring across your garage and you can't find it ever again. There it goes. And the spring inside here, what it does is it pushes the diaphragm out, obviously, and so it seals in the side of the housing here. We're just going to set that in there for right now. Now, these things, the designs change over the years. So you can see they're different designs. This one has the side windows on it. This one does not. It's alright. Go ahead and use it. As long as you use the matching needle that comes with the kit. And it goes in here. You see the little threaded hole there? You got big sausage fingers. Sometimes it's just helpful just to get it started with a pair of needle nose pliers here. Try not to block your view with my head, so it's a little harder to see. Alright. There it goes. Now it's starting to thread in. Being a little stubborn. This screwdriver's too small to really snug it up, so I'm going to have to get a bigger screwdriver here. So I'll go grab one off the shelf. Ideally, you want one that goes all the way across. This one just kind of sitting inside of it. And oh, look at that. I have to pull it back out because the gasket came out. You know what? That calls for a colorful four-letter metaphor, doesn't it? There you go. Drop the gasket back in. Go. See there? Let me go grab a bigger head screwdriver. Now you don't have to go gorilla on any of this stuff. You just want it nice and snug. Because if you do, that's a piece of brass that'll break. So, we're going to put in the new check ball, which is in here. So there's the new one. There's the old one. I'll just toss the old one over there. I'm going to use a needle and seat here. So, drop the needle and seat. Drop the little ball down in that little hole there. And what hole I stuck it in, so you probably can't see from where you're at, is right there. That hole there. And that hole gets this screw here, which I'll use a needle nose pliers to drop down in there because my fingers do not fit. Unless you got fingers like a 3-year-old, I don't think yours are going to fit either. So, then there's this here. See, this has got the little rubber thing here, which is, I believe, one that's the same as one of these. Is that the same? Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up with a wire brush. Get all this muck off of it. The wire brush is pretty soft, see? And that wire there, which came off, you can barely see it. Can you see that? That holds these in to this little contraption here. And I'm going to clean these off as well. Well, the reason why I'm wire brushing everything so neat and clean, especially on this piece here, is that this slides up and down in a tube, and we want it to slide up and down nice and easy like. So getting this wire back on is a challenge. Oops. The reason what the wire is for, so your needle, your metering rods don't fall out. So try to get one. It's really hard to do is see. Metering rod through the hole, and then through the little wire spring here, which is, there we go, like so. Fold it over the top of the little bracket here. Shove the other wire needle in, and then the... Oh, I know what I did wrong. That's what I did wrong. I had it right to begin with, but I just didn't have it correct. Oh. So, the little wire hangs on these little hooks at the back. And, goodness sakes, I need to have better eyes. And then folds up in. Got one side. Oh yeah, and the spring here goes in here. Alright, and then the little wire hanger just kind of hangs off the side of this, like so. This little rod goes through the little float like that. And then you put the little needle of the needle and seat into the, like this, like so. See how it sits like that? The rod just kind of sits in this little channel. I mean, the metering rod, the float. And then, like I said, I had to put the spring in there. I forgot to do that earlier. This little spring. That's why you gotta be careful when you're taking stuff out, because you don't get all these parts anymore in these kits, and you gotta reuse a lot of this stuff. And then you gotta get your floats stuck. I mean your metering rods to go back into the jets without bending them. So this is, this requires a little finesse. There's one, there's two. See how this goes up and down like that? And this little rubber ring here, you can just kind of give it a little shove in. See? Goes up and down like so. It uses vacuum, so vacuum pulls it down and gives it more fuel or less fuel. Alright, so... Oh, crud. I keep forgetting this. Sorry. This goes on first, and then this is what I get for doing like one quadrajet every 5 years. There we go. And then now it makes it even harder to see, to get the metering rods into the holes. That's why I got my headband on with my light on it, my miner's light. You may look like a dork using this thing, but at least you can see what you're doing with your hands free. There we go. Now it's in. Oof. So this is how it looks. See how that goes down? Alrighty then. So this spring here goes behind the fuel filter. So this is your inlet fitting. And look how nice that is. It's not stripped. Nobody over tightened the fuel inlet fine. Nobody went to with a crescent wrench onto that and stripped it out trying to get it on or off. And the fuel filter, which was an extra $5, goes in there. I just said don't use a crescent wrench, but I'm going to use one because I don't want to feel like digging through. And I'll snug it down correctly with the correct size wrench, which I believe is 15/16. Don't quote me on that. And just going to give it a... Oh, wait. I forgot before I take that off. Yep. Oops. This plastic one, or nylon, or whatever it's made out of, is the replacement, I think. Let's see here. I'm just going to be careful taking it off, just in case the plastic one does not fit right. I'm going to try to reuse this if I have to. Oh yeah. There we go. Got the new one on. Put the filter back in here. That back in there. And I'm just going to give it a little good snug that way. Okay. Now, the next piece I'm going to fix, this is the second fix, is your, people call these quadrabogs, and the reason why is that there's a spring in here, see, that opens it, and the spring is right in here. See, it's right there. It hooks on this arm here, and it pulls tension on it when you try to open it, right? It basically vacuum advance. And what can happen is the spring can get broke, or somebody over tightens it and pulls it apart, or it just gets weak over time and needs to be adjusted. So there's two things, there's two things you have to know to adjust it. There is that Allen head there, and then there's a flathead screw right there. Now the Allen head is a set screw, and this screw here is what you adjust the tension with on it, right? And so I need a small screwdriver like this to go, that fits in there, okay? And then I need an Allen head that fits that, and I can't remember what size it is. I'll have to go find it. Hang on one second. Might actually have it in here. So I'm going to give it a little more tension, not a lot. So what I do is I get the Allen head in here, and I loosen it up. Man, this doesn't fit either. So if you turn the Allen screw at all, you see you lost all tension on the screw. See how loose it is now? Oh man, you just can't keep this in there. It's being a pain in the butt. All right. So I lost all tension because I loosened the set screw there with the Allen wrench. So what I'm going to do is tighten this, and I'm not turning it very much. As you can see, I've only turned it like a half an inch so far. And come on. This is so much easier to do when it's on the car, even though you can't see the Allen head when it's on this car. See how it's flopping open still? Getting a little more tension out of it. I have the set screw set almost too tight to keep it from moving at all. And what I'm doing, I'm moving an eighth of a turn at all, because I don't want to over tighten and break that spring. Because you almost need a whole new carburetor if you break that spring, because nobody sells them unless you go to a carb. Yeah, I'm liking that a little better. I'm going to go a tiny bit more. So, oh yeah, that's better. Alright. Now you can adjust this while it's on the car and running, because you can get to it, because it's right there. It's on the side. You can get to the Allen head and all that. And adjust it. So it's like you're fine tuning when you're putting it on whatever vehicle you are. It's part of the fine tuning, like setting the adjustment screw and all that. Top gasket. Here's the old gasket. It broke into 3 pieces here, but this one matches it. This is the, I'm sorry, I'm off camera. Here we go. This is the old one, the new one. And you see how it matches, the holes match up, and it's got these slot here. Whereas the other one that came with it does not have those rectangular pieces on this right here and here. So, okay, I forgot about this gasket here. What you got to do is, it needs to be sitting on top of the main body here, and the reason being is that this part here, the gasket, right? I'm sorry, I'm going out of camera again. This part here, the gasket's got to feed in and around the main, the front metering rods, like this, and set down on top of the body. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to do this. Get these over the metering rods, and then your metering rods want to push out of place again, so you got to get those back into the jets. It is kind of a pain in the butt to build these things. I mean, I don't. Alright. Okay. Now comes the fun part. You got to get the emulsion tubes to go down their holes. Right? Yeah. What a pain in the butt. Alright. I'm gonna put this make sure this goes up and down smoothly before you put this back in. And then you want to take a small screwdriver to get the dowel pin that you pushed out back started going forward again. And I pushed it back a little too far, so now it's all the way up against the choke housing here. So I'm going to put the lever arm on for this. And before I can really do that, I gotta put the choke arm back in. I mean the accelerator pump lever. I have the wrong one. This goes to this one here. That's why it wasn't working. Go. Goes on there. So push down on this. Use a screwdriver to start pulling the lever back. I mean the roll pin back, so it looks like it's in there pretty good now. You just gotta, sometimes you gotta being stubborn. Get the hole lined up. There we go. I'm gonna start putting the screws in the top. It's crazy that the thinnest part of the top here, this thing's just being a pain in the what's this today. Alright. The long screws go in the back here because they go all the way down the back here where you can't see them. See? And then get them started with your fingers. Don't force them. If it doesn't want to turn easily, don't try to force them because all you're doing is stripping stuff. So these countersunk screws, these are the ones that go in here. If you remember in the previous video, I dropped them in with a needle nose pliers into the hole, into their holes. Go. Now we gotta rehang the rear mirroring rods. I'm gonna wipe them off here. And wipe off the little mirroring rod hanger. They basically hang like this. And just like the primary metering rods, they dangle them down here. Get them through the hole. You got to get them all the way down, so it's kind of a jiggle and the move and the stuff like that, so they actually go down. Don't force them. These have got much bigger holes to go into, so it's a little easier. But now that I've said that, I'll be fighting with it for the next half an hour. There we go. And then there's that tiny little screw that holds it, sits on the top here. So, this screwdriver is too big. This one will work. All right, now comes another fun bit. So, this rod goes down here like so, or something like this, or like that. Nope. Like this. We go over here. Yeah, that's for the choke pull off. So we have this one here. So this is your choke plate rod here. It's got it hooks in up here like this on the side of here, like so, and there's a screw that holds it in. Then there's this plate here which it hooks onto, and it goes down into the main body here. Hopefully I just didn't push the... It goes down the main body, and you see that hole there? Right there? That is the shaft hole for your choke. And the fun part is it goes over that, like over the shaft like that. Now, what becomes real fun about it is trying to get the rod as it's dangling down this way, like this, with this on it, and then kind of going like this, going down into that hole, and then getting in front of that hole there, so you can shove the choke housing on the through the choke housing shaft through it, through that slot. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. It's gonna suck. It does suck. Wait, this is why I have the rest of the carburetor put back together. And if your mind went into the gutter as a joke to offset how much this sucks, well, I don't blame you. So, alright. And you gotta line up a lot of crap too, so it's just kind of a pain in the what's this here. You got to get the linkage over that, and I need a light. Where's my light at? And what I do is I just kind of I end up basically dangling this rod down here, hooked onto this. I'm going to take this off right now. Hooked onto this hole here. And I dangle it down, and I twist the carburetor around any which way I can in order to get it on there. And while trying to look down in there. It's kind of it's a giant pain in the butt. It's a stupid design. But hey. So, because it wants to dangle straight down next to gravity, I usually put the carburetor on its nose. Like this. Start it down there first. Down the hole. And then I look through the choke staff hole here, see if I'm close. With it. And sometimes you have to use your pick tool to get it to line up. There we go. So it's lined up there. Now we need to get this back on. And your choke housing has different kinds of studs on it. So there's a stud here, and there's another one down here. And you got to get it over the linkage here correctly, otherwise it won't go on right. It's kind of a, whoever designed this was some sort of sadist, I swear. I hope he had to put 1,000 of these together every day at GM because he designed this garbage. And there's a screw that'll go through the housing here once you get everything lined up. But now it's just a matter of getting, looks like I got it in there. Oh my God, did I get it in? Yeah. Okay. I got it in, but do I have the linkage in the right spot? So it works. Oh yeah. Okay. You can see if you got it in there right, it'll move this choke, your choke here. So, run the screw in. Unbelievably, it went easy this time. I have spent hours doing this before. Thrown tools, screamed, yelled. So, now all you have to do is get the choke stove back on the hook here. Your choke stove is just a spring. There we go. And you put these little screws and plates back on. I hope I'm not out of camera shot here. I'm sorry if I am. I wanted to give you a close-up of what I'm doing on the carburetor so you can see it better, but I'm very limited on where I can move the carburetors and still be in the shot. So I'm going to get these ran down a little bit for right now. They don't have to be super tight because I got to put the other plate on the top of the rod, screw it to the choke blade, and then make an adjustment real quick on it. So, okay, it's still on there. See, before I put everything back together, I make sure it's still on there. Can you see the spring, this thing here moving? So, now, put this little plate here. There's a little screw that holds this little plate on. I think I got the choke stove spring a little bit too tight because it's fighting me holding it on here. So, obviously it's too tight because it's pulling it, it's pulling the choke completely closed all the way as I just hooked up all the linkage. Well, let's see here. And what you want for the choke adjustment, and this is good for any carburetor, is you basically want the thickness of a screwdriver shaft, like that. So, right about there is good. Now gravity's kind of pulling it down a little bit. Maybe I'll, yeah, there we go. Maybe a little tighter. You live in a cold climate, you might want it a little tighter in the wintertime where it's like really cold and It doesn't want to idle. And you need to basically almost cut the air off of it. And then we have the choke pull off, which goes like so. This is where pictures will help you. Me, I'm too smart for pictures. Those are the countersunk ones for the air conditioner doohickey. Here's one of the screws for this. Now what the choke pull off does is it, when you snap the throttle, it pulls the choke off the high speed idle and drops back down. And then this rod here goes to the secondaries. And what it does is when the choke's on, it prevents the secondaries from opening. So when this pulls closed like that, and it doesn't allow the secondaries to open when the choke is on full blast. And then I'll put this ugly thing on the other side after I clean it up. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, I need the little hose here. This one's actually still soft and pliable, so I'll just reuse it. They must have replaced this vacuum hose. They must have replaced the vacuum hose when they replaced the choke pull off. So, okay. There's the hose for it. And I'll just take a wire brush on this to clean the rest of the dirt off of it. Probably wondering why I'm bothering, because it may not work. And then it has two countersunk screws that hold it in here. I don't know if these idle bump up mechanisms are even available anymore. I haven't looked in so long. And all they really do is bump your throttle up when you turn on the air conditioner, because an air conditioner compressor, especially the old radial ones from the 70s, really draw down on your engine, and they're actually pulling so much horsepower that they actually will pull your idle speed down. Snug up these two, make sure everything's snugged up. Yeah, those are nice and snug. That's nice and snug. Yep. Tops. There you go. She's ready to go on a car. See if you actually did it right. I did do it right. Get your favorite cold beverage out and toast it to yourself. I'm toasting to myself. I'm not doing it on camera because I think they don't like it on YouTube.